Today I want to go through my way too early predictions for the New Year's 6 bowls and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. I want to go through my way too early predictions for the New Year's 6 Bowl to give you an opportunity to lambast me if that's what you want to do. But I correctly predicted this year's national champ. I was pretty good about saying Ohio State was going to be there at the end along with Clemson. Notre Dame didn't have that one, right? That's on me. But 3 out of 4 ain't bad. So when I was asked, hey, RJ, do you think you could do NY6 predictions? I was like, yeah, sure, 100%, because this is what I do, and I really love doing it. And unlike a lot of other folks who put out these sorts of lists, I feel that if you do such a list, you should justify your reasoning. I think that you should come up with a good argument and facts to support why you have made the decisions that you have made. You can argue about whether or not somebody agrees with you or not, but there's always room for discussion here. And that's one of the reasons that I really like doing the list. And one of the reasons I want to talk about it here on the video with you. So we're going to go up from the Fiesta Bowl all the way to the Orange Bowl, which next year is a college football playoff game. So Fiesta Bowl, at-large versus at-large. I got Coastal Carolina and UNC in there, mostly on the strength of I don't see anybody beating Coastal Carolina in their non-con or their conference play. They return Grayson McCall, who was outstanding, a freshman All-American. Jamie Chadwell has not taken a job anywhere else, remarkably. They return a ton at tight end and at wide receiver, and their defense is going to be there. After what we saw them do against Brigham Young, I was so very impressed. They lost a close game to a good Liberty Bowl team that many people somehow thought was going to end up with losing Malik Willis to Ohio State. Still might lose Malik Willis. Going to Ohio State. But that was one of the reasons that I like the Shots. I think the Shots are going to get into that Boise State role that we were so used to Boise State having of being our Cinderella darling group of 5 team that gets that at-large berth as the highest ranked group of 5 team at the end when the College Football Playoff Selection Committee does its rankings ahead of the College Football Playoff. I got UNC facing Coastal Carolina in there, mostly because I believe in Phil Longo and Jay Bateman and Sam Howell. I'm a huge believer in coaching continuity. Being able to keep your coordinators together along with a bunch of your position coaches is great. And while he's losing a ton, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, Daz Newsome, De'Ami Brown, Chaz Surratt, they've also recruited really, really, really well. And I'm expecting them to be able to get to the ACC championship game against Clemson and then perhaps shock some people, but you got to get there first. I really am betting on Sam Howell against Mackenzie Milton here at Florida State. A couple other things. Plus, Sam Howell has only gotten better. He was great as a true freshman. Last year, he got better tossing the football. Went from 61% to 68% completion and was great pushing the ball down the field. Increased his yards per attempt. This is the year where he's going to have to carry a large load for UNC, and I think he's capable of doing it. So that's Fiesta Bowl. Rose Bowl, I got Wisconsin versus Utah. This is the Big Ten versus Pac-12 bowl tie-in game. Wisconsin, I'm betting on Graham Mertz and Jalen Berger because I just don't see anybody else beating them in the Big Ten West. Like Purdue, when David Bell, maybe they'll have something to say about that. Northwestern gets a new defensive coordinator after Mike Hangewitz retired from coaching, has been coaching for 51 years and 13 at Northwestern. Remarkable. They also got a transfer in Ryan Helinski that I think is going to help them. And last time they went to the portal and came out with Peyton Ramsey, they made the Big Ten championship game and had an outstanding season. I think they're going to be pretty decent, but it's been Wisconsin's division for so long. Maybe Iowa jumps in there. I liked Iowa in the way too early top 25 rankings. But when push comes to shove, Paul Chryst in a normal year, Jim Leonard as defense coordinator, it's a really great job, and they have been very good at holding on to it. They cycled through a couple of quarterbacks, went from Jack Cohen to Graham Mertz. Jack Cohen is transferred to Notre Dame, which is not terrible if you're Jack Cohen. That's why I got them there. So Obviously, I got the Big Ten champion, or who I predict to be the Big Ten champion, headed to the playoff if I have the runner-up in the Rose Bowl. Peach Bowl, at-large versus at-large. I got Iowa State versus Clemson. I think right now I need to know whether or not Justin Ross is 100% good to go. I think he's that pivotal to success at Clemson. That said, Clemson is one of 2 Power 5 teams that returns all 11 starters on defense. Remarkable, right? Just, they're going to be great with Miles Murphy and Brian Brzee and James Skalski. Brent Venables' defense is going to carry that Clemson offense, but DJ Uiagalelei, I believe, is the most tooly quarterback in all of college football. I don't know about the running game. They're losing Travis Etienne, who's a tremendous back for them and set records, ACC records, not just Clemson records. I know that there are some people that believe in what it can be with an EJ Williams, what it can be with a Joe Ngata, but I need to see Justin Ross back because that's your go-to dude. And if he's 100%, then we'll have a different conversation. But right now, Peach Bowl, right, versus Iowa State. I got Iowa State as the runner-up in the Big 12. I think that returning everybody that you do is also huge for them. We're going to see what the ceiling is, though. Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, Charlie Kolar on defense, Mike Rose, Will McDonald, on offense, Mike Rose and Will McDonald on defense, right? I think that Matt Campbell going into the Magic year last year is going to try to build on that. John Haycock has done an outstanding job as defense coordinator. You know, like there are folks that have been watching Iowa State, Clemson closely that claim that Brent Venables learned everything he knows from John Haycock. I would be interested in watching those two defenses go to work against each other. And I think Iowa State is building toward trying to challenge for Oklahoma for conference supremacy. And who knew that they would get there before Texas did? Texas going into, well, I think what could be a very cool year for them if things break. Because like the Sugar Bowl, I got, Big 12 versus SEC. Texas versus Texas A&M. This is expecting a lot out of Texas. This is expecting a lot out of the Big 12. I believe that the defense in the Big 12 was good last year, and nobody can throw that Oklahoma doesn't play defense anymore. They finished number 15 in the SP+. They're good, right? This is the magic year for them. This is the window year for them. If Iowa State's going to the Peach Bowl, I got Texas in the Sugar Bowl as the third team and also one of the highest ranked teams because I believe their non-conference schedule is going to be just salty enough with Louisiana, probably starting as a top 25 team, to earn them an opportunity to get into this sort of bowl game. We'll see. It'd be odd to try to force a third team into New Year's 6 from the Big 12, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, especially if it's A&M that they're playing against, because who wouldn't want to see Texas A&M versus Texas in a bowl game because they've been dodging each other and there's so much animosity that they can't even get a game done. And I was looking at this and I'm going, I would really like to see Texas play Texas A&M, especially in a year where I believe Texas A&M is going to be very good and Steve Sarkisian might have found gold with Bijan Robinson and Casey Thompson, along with Jake Smith, Jordan Whittington, and the like. We'll see what it looks like, but I get why some folks might be a little uncomfortable with that one. But I think anybody that's familiar with Texas A&M as a rivalry would love to see them in the Sugar Bowl. Cotton Bowl, I got college football playoff team. This would be, I believe, number 2 versus number 3. Alabama versus Oklahoma. Alabama because it's Nick Saban. Bryce Young is one of the better quarterbacks the last 3 years. And who's betting against Alabama winning the SEC championship? Right? I think they're going to be there. But if they lost the SEC championship and it was their only loss, we could see the SEC finalist basically in the playoff once again, like we did 4 years ago, 2017, when Georgia beat Oklahoma. Alabama gets to the national championship game, and of course, we see Tua Tagovailoa come off the bench to hit Devontae Smith to beat Georgia in what was a fantastic game. Oklahoma, this is their magic year. Spencer Rattler's back, right? You return one of the deepest wide receiver depth charts in all of football. Alex Grinch did not take a job elsewhere. You have David Ugwoegbu coming on, Deshaun White coming on. You have tremendous defensive line depth now. I believe getting Marcus Hicks and Marcus Stripling more snaps is going to help you. You ought to be better at corner than you were last year. This is the year for Oklahoma to try to do this if they're going to do it. Ohio State versus Georgia in the Orange Bowl. Chris Olave coming back helps with this. Whether it's C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, or Kyle McCord, I know that many of y'all believe it's going to be C.J. Stroud. I think they're going to get that figured out. You also have a really talented backfield. Travion Henderson joining Master Teague, Mayan Williams, Steele Chambers, Evan Pryor also in there. A tremendously deep wide receiver depth chart. And defensively, you ought to be pretty good. You get Haskell Garrett back. You get Sevyn Banks back. We'll see about Josh Proctor. But I think there could be some more moves to be made for Ohio State. Talk about that a little bit later on. And then Georgia. Again, like Oklahoma in their magic year. Deep wide receiver depth chart. Got a returning starting quarterback. Have Todd Monken as your offensive coordinator, who is still teaching JT Daniels how to read coverages and how to look down the field. You have one of the better defenses in all of football. Jalen Carter's a monster. They're going to be so good with Keely Ringo playing quarter for them. I could see a close game between Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game, resulting in both of those teams getting into the playoff, because the selection committee has said we don't really care whether or not you like that we have two teams from the same conference in there. If we think they're the four best teams in all of college football, we're going to put them there, and we're going to get back to the conversation about expand the playoff, because nobody really wants to see two SEC teams in the playoff except those folks that come from the SEC. All right, let me know what you think about my predictions in the comments below. Bonus, Oklahoma and Georgia in the National Championship Bowl, or National Championship game. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.